Hello. So this is a time-lapse video of my participation in the ZBrush Summit Sculpt-Off 2023, which was an online competition held by Maxon, I believe. And it was about creating a character in ZBrush with using nothing but the default ZBrush toolset and brushes and everything from scratch in 3 hours, ending with a render and an upload to ZBrush Central to be judged. I've been using ZBrush forever, but it is certainly not my primary tool, and I am everything but a speed sculptor, so I needed a little bit of practice. I created, I think, 3 models before the competition just to test how long it would take for me to do something acceptable, and even if I did so, I never really hoped that I would be able to completely finish the concept that I wanted to finish. But as you will see in the end, I finished the sculpt, and I am actually very happy that I participated and did as much as I could. So the character that I chose was an elf who is a recluse, who doesn't want any contact with the outside world. He doesn't want to give anything and doesn't want to get anything. And as I was training for this, I thought I was going to do an old elf who is kind of sad. That, of course, isn't much of a story by itself, and I needed some kind of story, so I decided to add a creature that is cute and tries to cheer him up. And I tried a few kinds of creatures, and at first I wanted to create a very cute snail, but then I decided that it should be a slug with wings, and obviously it's not a very realistic slug. It's kind of a fantasy creature, especially because of the wings. And I added that. You will see it in the second half of the video. So what I did was, starting from a default base mesh that comes with ZBrush, converted it into Dynamesh and started blocking it using mainly the move brush and the clay brush, and occasionally everyone's favorite brush, of course, the damn standard. And when I later watched the whole video again, I quickly realized that I wasted a lot of time blocking out details instead of focusing on speed. So that was a mistake. I think I wasted almost an hour blocking out the head. It is not a bad mistake if you have enough time to experiment, but in this case, I should have practiced more, so the whole shape could have been in my muscle memory. So what you can see now is I'm working a little bit on the neck and trying to figure out how to make the elf genuinely old, playing with thinness and loose skin and wrinkles, at least major wrinkles. And I made his nose a little bit bigger, because when you get old, your nose grows a little bit. And then I also spent a lot of time trying to halfway close his eyes I had a hard time figuring out how to do that properly with the eyelids. I think it could have been better if I started with a little bit less dense Dynamesh, but ultimately it worked. I unfortunately didn't have time to create hair and garment, and that was also in the description, so I really hope that I would not end up being disqualified. Hair is extremely tricky in ZBrush, especially if you're not doing something stylized and if you don't want to use fiber mesh. I actually wanted to make him quite bald and have some long pieces of hair hanging from the back of his skull, but I didn't have time for that, as you will see, because I also spent quite a lot of time trying to make the wings appealing for the slug. But here I'm still just working on some wrinkles, still trying to figure out how thin he should be, what would be the appropriate jawline. Still only using the 3 brushes I already mentioned: clay brush, move brush, and damp standard. And as you can see, I'm revisiting the eyelids again, because I'm very good at doing the same work over and over and over again. Obviously, I did not think it over very well, so again, wasting time. I'm also trying to create the major wrinkles to fit the age and to signify some kind of sadness, because that was a point. And I briefly muzzed out the head and used the gizmo to rotate it a little bit so it would look downwards. And that's not only because of sadness, but also because the small flying slug will fly right in front of his face and is trying to catch his attention. Again, the nose. And what I'm also trying to do is emulate gravity a little bit because of the loose skin and the wrinkles. So gravity affects them, and as the head turned a little bit downwards, all those larger pieces of skin hang a little bit lower and a little bit towards his chin. And now I'm revisiting the bigger forms. And now I'm starting to create the slug. So I'm using Z-spheres, which is the most brilliant thing after sliced bread, I would say. It's just amazingly versatile and easy to work with. And it also looks gorgeous. I mean, doesn't it look spectacular? When it was first introduced, I fell in love with just how it was looking, and especially when later on they introduced Z-Sketch combined with Z-spheres, you can create some pretty amazing artwork just by using these tools and never turning them into polymesh. So this is a slug which evolved magically into like kind of a half dragon, so that's why it has horns. It also has a little bit of horn for a nose, which I got inspired by a certain kind of viper that has that. I think it looks fascinating. And I'm also, although obviously this is not a vertebrate animal, but I'm still drawing from my mammal anatomical knowledge, and that's how I was setting up at least a little bit of muscle structure for the arms. I definitely wanted it to be cute and resembling a little bit of Japanese creatures, that they tend to have a mouth like that. And now I really lost my way for a minute with the spheres that I wanted to use for the eyes. I have no idea what happened. I just lost it, and after you will see after a little while, I lose them again, and I have to recreate them again. And now I'm adding a little bit of interesting detail for the body, so it's not completely flat and smooth. And that's basically the shape of the slug. And now I'm moving on to creating the arms, but now I lost the eyes again, so I'll lose them again. And now it's not the arms that I'm creating now, it's the wings. And these are very basic things. If I had had more time, I would have created some more interesting feather-like base model, but I just went with this one. And I'm using array mesh, and also the Gizmo's own deformer tools. Brilliant tools. I don't know how many people uses them, but everyone should. They make life so easy in ZBrush. Once you understand how it works, and it's actually it has a very good user interface, then it's very easy to work with them. So as you can see, in a matter of minutes, I created those wings, and now I'm using the whole thing as one mesh or a sub tool, and I'm conforming it to the arms, and then I'm conforming the arms to it, because that's a good idea, I think. I really didn't have time. And I also have to say, and I'm not fishing for excuses, I just want to give a little bit of explanation and background information, that when this whole thing happened, I had a medical issue with my eyes. I normally use my glasses, but they didn't work very well because the refractive index in my eyes suddenly changed, and it took actually 3 weeks to recover. So I didn't see exactly what I was doing. I was looking through a blur, and as you can, if you look at my head, you can see that often I try to look at the screen above my glasses, which also didn't work. So that's mainly what caused the huge mistakes that I made in the end with the render, unfortunately. But I'm gonna explain what exactly happened there. But one of the mistakes were extremely stupid, but I was really tired, and it was at the end of the third hour, almost at midnight in UK time. So yeah, it wasn't easy. Trying to figure out the proportions, the slug versus the head, and now I'm adding a little bit more surface detail. It's not a lot, but I didn't want to add a lot because, first of all, I was running out of time. I couldn't really see fine detail because of the blur, and I also thought this is supposed to be a concept, not a finely detailed creature. But I really like to finish it soon, because I do think that the concept works, and I like the head and I like the slug. I obviously want to work a lot more on that slug, so it can become a fully detailed creature, and not only create this composition with the elf, but also want to dedicate a little time for the slug just by itself. I'm adding details to the neck, and again, playing with loose skin and how gravity affects it, and a little more wrinkles. I'm really not happy that I didn't have time for the hair, because it would have added quite a lot to it, but yeah, that's it. And here I actually took a little bit of inspiration from a rabbit's ear. That's why I added those veins in the ear. And now I stopped using symmetry. I also stopped using symmetry a while ago when I was adding the fine detail to the head, because nobody's symmetrical, and especially those details aren't. And here we are getting close to the rendering mistakes. The first one was that I chose the wrong material. It's too white. It doesn't work with this 3-point lighting. It makes everything way too bright. And the second one was that I was trying to create a nice depth of field effect, but because of the blur, I couldn't see very well what I was doing. So it ended up quite blurry everywhere. And the third one, I think, that I made was my strange obsession with vignetting, and I added a vignette, and that just doesn't work well with compressed images, so it created these ugly concentric circles in the background. So that's basically it. I am very, very happy that I participated, and I'm not ashamed to say that certain things didn't work. There's always room to improve and to learn and to practice more. So I will definitely go again, and I will be hopefully able to finish this concept soon. Thank you very much for watching this, and I'll see you in the next video.